football is the one that I think of, and that's why I asked you about team size. And I think it's really interesting you were talking about the subgroups, right? So the team size, the roster might be 50 players. And then there's, a dozen coaches, or there's a lot of people and trainers and people like that. But you do divide down into the defensive backs are over here and the linebackers over here, offensive line, defensive line. And I'm assuming that they can create their own norms within their sub-teams or their subgroups. And so, and I think that probably creates the overall culture for the organization and for the team. But that's why I was asking you about the size of the organization and the size of the team.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm trying to think of the name of the Seattle Seahawks old coach.
Oh, Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Pete Carroll. So I did some research on him because his name kept popping up in...
Is that right?
When he came in to the Seattle Seahawks, he said, from now on, I want respect amongst everyone in the... he basically said, this is, his culture of love, which is basically what he called it, right? He wasn't soft. And this is basically what I really wanted to emphasize in the book was you don't have to be soft on people. You can give them tough feedback, but you got to give it with love. You got to give it with care.
I had an episode with Scott Stalker when he was Command Senior Enlisted Leader of U.S. Space Command. Now, this is a guy who was a Marine once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine. So he's a Marine who served 31 years active duty. He's since retired. And we were talking about his keys to leadership. And he said that one of his keys to leadership is love. And I'm thinking, this is a power lifter. This is a big, tough guy who's been deployed all over the world. And he's talking about love. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, Don, like when you love your brother or your sister in arms, you are going to fight because and Vance Cryer, too, a retired Marine colonel, he said, you don't understand why we fight. We don't fight for ourselves. We fight for the person, the Marine to the left of us and the Marine to the right of us. And I was like, wow, that's so beautiful. So this idea of love, and these are tough guys talking about love. I'm like, wow, this is really enlightening.
It's powerful. It's really powerful. In one of the things that I found that I write about in the book was a video that was posted in the New York Times, and it was a couple of actors having a fight, and they were acting out of script, and it was an argument. The guy came home, he had spent the night out with his buddies, the woman was jealous, blah, 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 they're having the argument. And then they stop and they say, wait a minute, is that the way the writer intended that to be? Let's go back and do the script, but this time with love. And they come in and they say the exact same words, but it's more tentative. And it's more like, are you going out with your friends because you don't want to be with me? And so so the result is, again, very, very different. And it's really powerful to see how you say things, how much of a difference how you say the same words can really matter.